back, watch people, and well, a sale at Watchfinder. What a surprise, or maybe not, depends what side of the fence you sit on. And I think this video has been long overdue, if I'm honest. And I have to say that to some degree, I've been under a little bit of pressure from some of my former fellow watch dealers to try and play this down to some degree. And you know what, to a point I've gone along with that, because I don't want to see anyone suffer financially. I don't want to see anyone come a cropper, whether they be trade, whether they be public. I've got too many friends in this business, both on the retail side of the counter and also from a customer viewpoint as well. But it's no good me hiding and pretending that things aren't happening in the watch world when they clearly are. And I want to talk to you today about the Watchfinder sale and why I think that Watchfinder as a company, both mainly under their original ownership rather than their new ownership, because you know the Richmond Group are a different animal to the people that originally founded Watchfinder, of course, and the organisation will be run entirely differently. What I can say to you is, and I'm quite happy to say this, is that I've never had any time for Watchfinder as a company whatsoever. This is just my own opinion. I'm not stating any facts. I'm just telling you the way I see it. Frankly, I can't stand Watchfinder. I couldn't stand them under their previous ownership, and I don't really have any feelings for them one way or the other under their new ownership. I think the previous owners were very, very clever people who sold a business to someone basically who saw, probably they look with their eyes rather than with their heart. And you know, I've never liked Watchfinder, let me just put it that way. I've seen their buying methods out in Munich at the watch fairs. I've seen the way that their money was spent. I've seen some of the garbage that they used to just select out of people's cabinets without even inspecting them. Yes, okay, I suppose their argument would be that those watches were going back to HQ and would have been serviced, etc., before they were made available to the public. That may be the case, and if it was, you know, fair enough. But nonetheless, you would never see an independent watch buyer, someone that was buying watches with their heart as well as their pocket. You would never see them point at a cabinet and say, I'll take that, and that. That's just not the way it works for us. So there's never been any love lost for me with Watchfinder. I'm just putting my cards on the table. I couldn't stand them as a company, and I didn't like the way they used to treat other watch dealers. Certainly they treated me really poorly on one occasion, extremely poorly. And when people used to bring watches into my store and they would say that they bought it from Watchfinder, invariably I'd say, well, with all due respect, go and sell it back to them, because I don't want anything that's been through their hands. And you know, we're all familiar with the email that was leaked from Watchfinder a long time ago about the sapphire crystal that was replaced by someone at Cousins instead of Rolex. And we know these stories, and we know all about the reviews, the bad reviews being removed from review websites. We've seen it all. If you've been around long enough, you don't need me to tell you. So what do I make of their sale right now? Well, you know what? This is what's making me angry about Watchfinder, because they were the company, in my opinion at least, that were partly responsible for the false inflation of a lot of prices. Because let's get it straight, guys, at one time their prices on their website were absolutely crazy. I mean, never mind Watchfinder. You know, I used to call them Wally Finder, because you'd have to be pretty stupid to have paid the sort of prices that they were asking in previous years. Whether those prices were ever being achieved or not is another story. I mean, for me, again, just my opinion, those prices were phony prices. Those prices that were there were never really hoping to be achieved. They were there to make their company look bigger and worth more than it was. That's just my opinion. I certainly can't state that as a fact. And you have to be very careful when you talk about Watchfinder, because in the past at least they've been very quick to flex their legal muscles against anyone that says anything about them. Hence that's why a lot of people have never said or spoken about Watchfinder. But let's look at the present day. These people are now having a sale, or at least they look like they're having a sale, because this morning when I had a look, I can see a Daytona reduced from 25 odd to 23 odd. But then I look again further down the line on the website and the same watch is still up for 25. So I'm not sure if it's 23 or 25. I know there was enough visitors to that website over the last few hours to crash the website. But boy, oh boy, you know, come on guys, open your eyes. I mean, look at some of the crazy prices they've got these watches up for, especially in the past, but even now they can be top heavy, and they're knocking £3,000 off of some watches. How can they do this? I could never knock £3,000 off of a watch because I never had £3,000 in a stainless steel Rolex sports watch to make in the first place. So what does that tell you about the prices that they are paying? So you could argue that they are responsible for falsely inflating the prices, and now they're going to be responsible for lowering the prices, for hurting the market, for hurting all those independent dealers out there that have invested into their stock, etc. And it doesn't sit well with me. You know what, guys? This is one of the reasons that I'm out of the goddamn business. And I can prove this. In fact, there'll be people watching this video right now who have written to me just this week, because every day I get emails from people who want to sell their watch to me because they know they can trust me. They know that if they sell their watch to me, they're going to get paid and it's going to be safe. So people still write to me, Paul, I have this, would you like to buy it? And my answer, even today, to someone trying to sell me a very nice watch that I'd like to buy, my answer is, I can't buy it. And you know why? Because you can get money, better money for that watch from someone else. I'm only going to pay what I consider to be the right money. And I'm very lucky because I'm sitting on quite a large collection of watches that are all safely tucked away in my safety deposit box, all with their box, their cards, everything that you could possibly wish for. And every single one of them has been bought at list or under list price, because I've never been crazy enough to get involved in this stupidness, frankly. We've been led like sheep. To some degree, we've been led like sheep by influencers, influencing price increases, influencing inflated prices. And now you could say that one of the companies that were responsible for these ridiculous prices are now suddenly decided that actually they need a sale. However, are they going to continue with this business model that they seem to have had over the years of, you know, buying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of watches with an outlay, a running cost that must have run into many, many thousands of pounds every day? How are they ever going to see their way through the quiet periods? And look, guys, I don't care how big Watchfinder are, they're still in the same business that I was in. And the business that I was in would have at least 2, usually 3 quiet periods of the year. Easter, summer holidays, and October. Quiet periods of the year, because those are the periods of the year. Easter, people are away. Summer, people are away. October, people are paying the bills before they start getting ready to spend for Christmas. Now, I don't care who you are. Quiet periods of the year are quiet periods of the year. How can you sustain a business like that with multiple thousands of pounds a day in cost? How can you sustain that business module during the quiet periods? I think the previous owners of Watchfinder were magnificent, very clever, very switched on businessmen, and I hold my hands up and hold my hand out to them to congratulate them for selling what I believe to be a pretty rotten company to someone that was, I've got to be careful what I say, to someone who was prepared to buy it. Good luck to them, fair play. Do I feel sorry for Richmond? No, not at all. It's up to them. They should have done a bit more research in the pre-owned market, in my opinion. They should have looked at it a little bit more carefully. Yes, they brought prices down by comparison to the previous ownership, and they have been more realistic. But I've never liked Watchfinder's way of doing business, personally. I've never found them nice people to do with. Now, look, no doubt, I'm going to get a lot of comments in the section below saying, I had a wonderful experience working with Watchfinder. Good luck to you. I'm glad you did. But I can also point you in the direction of many dozens of complaints that I've seen, dozens and dozens of complaints that I've seen removed from various review websites, from forums, etc., where Watchfinder have flexed their muscles and tried to get rid of any trail that would lead back to them as being not always the best people to deal with. I've seen it. And anyone in the business, any watch dealer in the business will tell you the same thing. The bottom line is this: you speak to any independent watch dealer across the country and ask them, do they like Watchfinder? What do they think of Watchfinder? And let them tell you what they think. Would I buy a watch from Watchfinder? Absolutely not. I wouldn't give them my money. I wouldn't sell them a watch. I wouldn't buy a watch from them. But needs must, and if that's what you want to do, good luck to you. I've got, as I said, I must make it clear, I've got no axe to grind with Watchfinder, particularly under their new ownership. I'm sure they're very honourable people, and good luck to them. I hope their business does well. But what annoys me is that they can just flex their muscles again and tell the world that actually we're going to take £3,000 off of a stainless steel Rolex sports model when they shouldn't really be having £3,000 profit in that watch in the first place. Why? Well, I tell you why, because it means they've either asking too much in the first place or they never paid their customer enough money for the watch when they purchased it. It's got to be one or the other, because my guess is that these guys don't sell watches at a loss. So where does it leave us in the watch world? Well, I'll tell you where it leaves us. It leaves us back to where we were before the giant of Watchfinder entered the market. And Watchfinder, to us more established dealers, are still newbies. Watchfinder is still a new company to me. I can remember a long time ago, before Watchfinder was even thought of or established. I was working with watches before they even thought about becoming watch dealers. And we're back to where we were before Watchfinder invented themselves, and that means that we've got to stick together. The smaller independents have got to stick together. We have to work together like we've always done, unlike Watchfinder, who basically, in my opinion, disregarded everyone else in the business, trampled all over everyone to get to where they wanted to be. And I can't say that they're still doing that today, because like I said, they're a different animal. I had no involvement with the Watchfinder of today. And I don't want to see anyone come a cropper, as it were. But my appeal to the watch community would be, support your local watch dealer. Support the guy that puts his hand in his pocket and spends his own money. Support the watch dealer that needs your business. Support the watch dealer that's going to be there. The same guy is going to be there in a year's time that was there a year before. You buy a watch from a big company, you don't know who you're dealing with. It's just a salesman. The guy could have been selling insurance 3 months ago, and now he's selling you your watch. Is he still going to be working there in a year? Maybe, maybe not. Support your independent local watch dealer or your authorised dealer if that's the route you want to go down. But these big companies like that, they don't really do it for me. I'm sorry, they don't do it for me at all. Everything I've said today in this video is just my opinion, and there are a few things that I would have to use the term allegedly. I have to be careful with Watchfinder. Anyone does it. You deal with Watchfinder or you criticise Watchfinder at your peril, because they will come after you. I'm just telling you the truth, the way I found them to deal with, and I find this sale very odd. I find it very odd. What is the reasons behind it? Because let's get one thing straight, guys, right? Groups like Richmond do not suddenly start selling watches for less than what they paid for them. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're doing it out of the necessity for their back pocket. At whatever level this decision was made, and you'd have to think that it was made at the highest of levels. This is a decision that's been made to release, you would have to guess, release their overstocking and to relinquish some of the watches that they've got that are heavily overpriced in the first place, in my view. So what annoys me is that they were responsible in many ways for bringing these prices up, and now they want to just bring them down, just at the drop of a hat. And it doesn't matter what the repercussions are to the smaller watch dealers or to the individual owners of watches or to people that have paid and been encouraged to pay way over list for watches. Where does it leave the watch market right now? In a bit of a stalemate situation, isn't it? We seem to have reached a bit of a stalemate, but my advice is not to panic. Whatever you are sitting on, at whatever price you paid for it, don't panic. Sit tight, hold on, wait and see what happens, because ultimately, if you're watching this video, you're probably sitting on a Rolex that you may have paid over list for, you might have bought it for list, who knows what you've paid for it. It doesn't really matter, guys. The thing is if you sit tight and if you're brave enough to just keep your nerve and sit tight, ultimately things will work out for everyone. If you're buying right now, there are certain models in the range that have taken a hit. The Batman, the Batgirl, the Hulk, the Daytona even. Some of the watches that have been attracting the heaviest of premiums. Fine, go and buy one. Just make sure that you're not paying the old inflated price of, say, 6 months ago, because those prices have now taken a downturn. Will they come back? Yes, of course they'll come back ultimately, but you've got to sit tight, you've got to be patient. But now is not a time for the faint-hearted. Do not stop buying watches. Do not lose your nerve. Go out there, speak to your local dealers, have a chat with them, ask them for their advice, see where you think the market is going, follow the market. It is not a time for, in my opinion, big companies to be one of the first to lose their nerve and to start selling watches like there's a problem, when actually there's not much of a problem. The problem has been one that has been almost self-created by the same company that now wants to tell us that our watches are actually worth less, when the truth is that, in my opinion, they were asking too much for them in the first place. That's my view today, guys. Be interested to see what you have to say in the comment section below. Please keep it legal, guys. Please keep it clean and readable for viewers of all ages. That's very important. On that note, I'm going to tell you something now that I've had to. I looked at my statistics last night, my YouTube statistics. Since I have come back to YouTube in the summer this year, right up until we are now in sort of middle November, I've had to ban 59 people from leaving comments on my videos. And the reason that I've banned those people, there are basically two reasons why I ban people. One is if they are abusive or using foul language. If they're abusive and using foul language, whether it is to me or to a fellow viewer, you will be banned. Two, if you lie, if you blatantly lie about me or about anyone else that maybe has written a comment in my on my comment section or whatever, if you lie and it's clearly a lie because you're just doing this for fun, you're just doing it to wind other people up, you will be banned. Everything else, constructive criticism, opinions, you're welcome. I can take it. I'm not averse to taking a bit of stick, but what I won't have is the foul and abusive language and the lies. Apart from that, it's all up for grabs. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll speak again soon.